Hey everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive with the Moore's Global Finance podcast team. I'm John.
And I'm Tiffany.
And today we're going to be talking all about gold IRAs.
Yeah.
And more specifically, we're going to be taking a look at two of the biggest players in the industry, Goldco and Patriot Gold Group. So, gold IRAs are becoming more and more popular these days.
They really are.
Especially with all the economic uncertainty. People are looking at precious metals as a way to kind of hedge against inflation.
A safe haven almost.
Yeah.
When the storm is coming.
Exactly.
You want to be in the right kind of shelter.
And gold IRAs can potentially offer that kind of protection for retirement savings.
That's right. And unlike traditional IRAs that, hold stocks and bonds,
Right.
these accounts let you actually hold physical gold and other precious metals.
Okay, so let's start by kind of mapping out these two companies that we're going to be looking at.
Right.
First up, we have Goldco.
Okay.
They've been around since 2006, founded by a guy named Trevor Gerst out in California. And one thing that really caught my eye about Goldco is that they've actually been endorsed by some pretty big names like Sean Hannity.
Oh, yeah. Big names.
Yeah. When you're choosing a company to manage something as important as your retirement funds,
Yeah.
do those endorsements really make a difference?
It's definitely something to think about. I mean, you shouldn't just base your whole decision on who's endorsing a product.
Sure.
But it does say something about their reputation and the level of trust that they've built over the years.
Right.
I mean, they've been around for a while. They've seen some ups and downs in the economy.
Since 2006.
Exactly. And they're still going strong. That says something.
So experience is definitely on Goldco's side.
For sure.
But then we have Patriot Gold Group. They're a bit newer on the scene, right?
Yeah, they were founded in 2016 by Jack Haney, also in California.
Okay.
So they don't have quite the same long history as Goldco. But their leadership team is made up of people who have been in the precious metals market for decades.
Okay.
So they really emphasize that experience and expertise
Right.
as one of their, key strengths.
Okay, so it sounds like we have Goldco, the kind of seasoned veteran, then Patriot Gold Group, like the up-and-comer, but with, a team of experienced players.
Right.
But before we get too deep into comparing these two companies, let's step back for a second.
Sure.
And just clarify what services these companies actually offer.
Okay, so both Goldco and Patriot Gold Group, they offer a whole set of services that are focused on precious metals IRAs.
Okay, so instead of betting on the stock market, you're betting on precious metals.
Exactly.
Which historically have held their value pretty well.
They have.
During times of economic uncertainty.
That's right.
So I can see why that would be appealing to a lot of investors.
Makes sense.
But both companies actually go beyond just setting up the IRA.
They do.
They also offer the option to buy metals directly, which...
Let's those people who like to hold something tangible.
Yeah, I like that.
You can
actually hold it in your hand.
It's like a piece of, financial security that you can actually touch.
Yeah, that's a powerful image, holding a gold coin. That represents your financial future. But you know what happens if you need to access that value?
That's a good question.
Do you just melt it down and hope for the best? Or
No.
Right.
They actually both offer buyback programs.
Okay.
So you can easily convert your metals back into cash when you need it.
So there's liquidity there.
Exactly. You're not stuck. If you need to access your money, you can get it.
So you've got the IRA setup, you've got the option to buy metals directly, and then you can sell them back if you need to. Sounds pretty comprehensive.
It is.
Now, I'm kind of curious about the types of metals that they offer.
Okay.
Is it just the standard gold and silver, or do they have some more exotic options?
Well, they mainly focus on gold and silver. They have a wide variety of coins and bars.
Yep.
You've got your classic American Eagles, Canadian maple leafs, and then they even have some more unique coins like Australian sea turtle coins or bald eagle coins.
Oh, yeah.
For,
That's not cool.
people who like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A little bit of numismatic artistry.
What about Patriot Gold Group? Do they just stick to the gold and silver standards, too?
They actually go a little bit beyond that.
Okay.
They offer platinum and palladium as well.
Interesting.
So that gives investors a little more diversification within the precious metals market. You're not just, putting all your eggs in one basket.
Makes sense. Diversification is always good.
Exactly. It's like having multiple tools in your toolbox.
Right. You're better prepared to handle whatever comes your way.
Exactly.
All right. So we've talked about the backgrounds of Goldco and Patriot Gold Group. We've talked about the services they offer and even a variety of metals they offer. But now let's talk about something that I know is important to everyone. And that is, Fees and costs.
Fees are so important.
Because nobody wants to see their retirement savings just eaten away by, hidden charges.
Exactly.
So let's break it down, starting with Goldco.
Okay.
Now, one thing I noticed is that they have a lower minimum investment requirement.
They do. It's only $25,000.
Which makes it a lot more accessible for people who are maybe just starting out.
Yeah.
Or have a smaller amount of capital to invest.
It's a good entry point.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I imagine there's got to be some trade-offs for that lower initial investment, right?
Well, you always have to look at the big picture when it comes to fees.
Right.
So while Goldco has that lower minimum, some people have said that their ongoing fees might be a bit higher than some of their competitors.
Okay, so that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah. Definitely.
What about Patriot Gold Group? What do their fees look like?
Well, they have a higher minimum investment.
Okay.
It's $50,000. But they do offer a no-fee-for-life policy on certain accounts. And they also waive the setup fees for larger investments.
Okay, so if you have more money to invest up front, you could potentially save money in the long run.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a classic balancing act.
Yeah.
Lower initial investment with potentially higher ongoing fees versus higher initial investment with the potential for, long-term savings.
That's right.
So it really just depends on the individual situation. And we haven't even talked about storage yet.
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, we can't just stash these precious metals under our mattress, right?
No, absolutely not.
So how do Goldco and Patriot Gold Group ensure that their clients' investments are safe and secure?
Well, they both use IRS-approved storage facilities.
Okay.
And one of the most popular options is the Delaware Depository.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. It's known for having really, really tight security.
Like Fort Knox for gold IRAs.
Yeah, exactly.
But are all storage options created equal?
That's a really good question.
Within those facilities, are there different choices that people need to be aware of?
Yeah. So, for example, Goldco offers both segregated and non-segregated storage.
Okay. What's the difference?
So with segregated storage, your metals are kept completely separate from everyone else's.
So it's like your own little vault.
Yeah, basically. It's the most secure option, but it also tends to be a bit more expensive.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then there's non-segregated storage, which is also called pooled storage.
Okay.
And in that case, your metals are stored with other people's metals.
So it's like a big communal vault.
Right. It's still very secure, but it's more cost effective.
Okay.
So it's a good option for people who are, a little more budget conscious.
So you're basically choosing between that extra layer of security and cost savings. All right. So we've talked a lot about, the mechanics of gold IRAs, the differences between Goldco and Patriot Gold Group. But let's talk about the human element for a second.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, people are trusting these companies with their retirement savings.
Yeah, their hard-earned money.
Exactly. So how do Goldco and Patriot Gold Group stack up when it comes to customer support?
Well, they both really emphasize personalized service.
Okay.
They have dedicated account representatives who can answer questions, walk you through the process, help you choose the right metals for your portfolio.
So it sounds like they're going beyond just being transaction processors.
Yeah.
They're trying to be more like partners
Exactly.
in their client's financial journey. But, how do we know if they're actually walking the walk?
Yeah.
Or this is just marketing fluff?
That's a good question. And to be honest, it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, both companies have gotten positive feedback for their customer service, but there are some differences.
Okay.
Goldco, for example, they get a lot of praise for their focus on investor education.
Okay.
They really go the extra mile to make sure that their clients understand how gold IRAs work and that they're making informed decisions.
That sounds really valuable.
Yeah, especially for people who are new to this whole thing, it can be a little intimidating.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that extra support and education is really helpful.
What about Patriot Gold Group? What are their strengths?
Well, they're known for being super responsive
Okay.
and having really streamlined processes. So clients appreciate how efficient everything is and how easy it is to work with their team.
Okay, so Goldco is more about education, and Patriot Gold Group is more about a seamless experience. Interesting to see how they each have their own approach, but we do have to address the elephant in the room. During our research, we did come across some negative reviews, particularly for Goldco.
Yeah, there have been some allegations of aggressive sales tactics and a lack of transparency about fees.
So that's definitely something that potential investors need to be aware of.
Absolutely. You always have to do your research. Read reviews from multiple sources. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions.
Transparency is so important.
It is.
Especially when it comes to your finances.
Yeah, you don't want any surprises.
And it's a good reminder that no company is perfect.
That's right.
So thorough research is key.
Absolutely.
Well, you've given us a really great overview of Goldco and Patriot Gold Group. But I know what our listeners are thinking.
What's that?
Which one is better?
The million-dollar question. And the truth is, there's no easy answer.
Okay.
It really depends on your individual needs and priorities.
Okay, so let's play a little game.
Right.
Let's say you're advising a friend who's interested in opening a gold IRA. What are some of the key factors that you would tell them to consider?
Well, first I'd ask them about their investment goals.
Okay.
What are they hoping to achieve with this IRA?
Right. Are they looking for long-term growth, short-term gains, protection against inflation? And then I'd also ask about their risk tolerance. Are they comfortable with a little bit of volatility, or do they prefer a more stable investment?
Right. Some people are more risk-averse than others.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget about budget.
Yeah, budget's always important.
How much can they actually afford to invest?
Yeah.
Both initially and over the long term.
It all comes down to your personal circumstances.
Right. It's about tailoring the choice to their specific situation. But if you had to choose between Goldco and Patriot Gold Group, just based on our discussion today, which way would you lean?
That's a tough one. If I had to pick, I'd probably go with Goldco.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, they've been around for a while.
Since 2006.
Exactly. And they seem to really care about educating their investors.
Right.
And I've consistently seen positive feedback about their customer service.
So you're looking for that combination of experience, education, and support.
Yeah, I think that's really important when you're trusting someone with your retirement savings.
Makes sense.
But of course, this is just my opinion.
Sure.
The ultimate decision is up to the individual investor.
Right, we're just two voices offering our perspective.
Exactly.
So let's do a quick recap.
Okay.
What are the key takeaways for our listeners today?
Well, first and foremost, it's important to understand that gold IRAs are not a guaranteed way to get rich.
Right. There's always risk involved.
Always.
Like with any investment.
Yes, exactly.
But they can be a valuable tool for diversification and potentially protecting your savings.
Exactly.
Okay, so takeaway number one, diversification, potential protection.
Those are the key words.
What else should our listeners keep in mind?
The second takeaway is that there are a lot of factors to consider when you're choosing a gold IRA company.
Yeah, we've talked about fees, storage options, customer support, company reputation.
It's a lot to think about.
And the final takeaway.
The most important takeaway, do your research.
Don't just take our word for it.
Exactly.
Or anyone else's word for it.
What's beyond the marketing?
Read independent reviews. Compare fee schedules. Ask questions.
Knowledge is power.
Especially when it comes to investing.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we've given our listeners plenty to chew on today.
We have.
They have a really solid understanding of Goldco and Patriot Gold Group, their strengths, their weaknesses, and what to consider when making a decision.
We've given them the map. Now it's up to them to choose their path.
Before we wrap things up, Tiffany, I want to leave our listeners with a thought.
Okay.
You know, something that goes beyond just Goldco and Patriot Gold Group. We've spent all this time comparing these two companies.
Right. Breaking them down.
Looking at their services, analyzing their strengths and weaknesses. But I think it's important to zoom out for a second and consider the bigger picture.
Sure.
Why are people even thinking about gold IRAs in the first place?
That's the real question, isn't it? I mean, we talked about the economic uncertainty, the need for diversification, the potential to protect your savings.
Exactly. But it all boils down to one word: retirement.
Retirement.
What does that word even mean to you? What does your ideal retirement look like?
It's easy to get lost in the details, you know, comparing fees and storage options.
Right.
But we need to connect those decisions back to a vision. What do you actually want your life to look like when you retire?
Where do you want to live? What do you want to do? How much money do you need to make those dreams a reality?
Exactly. Once you have that picture in your mind, then you can start figuring out the best way to get there.
Right. A gold IRA might be part of that plan, or it might not.
Exactly.
The key is to make informed choices. Choices that align with your personal goals and circumstances, not just following the latest trends.
Don't just blindly follow someone else's advice, you know?
You got to take control of your own financial future.
That's right.
Well said, Tiffany. So as we wrap up our deep dive into gold IRAs, let's encourage our listeners to really think about their vision for retirement.
Think about what you want.
Use the information we've discussed today as a starting point.
A jumping off point.
Explore the options, do your research, and most importantly, make choices that resonate with your personal goals. We hope you've enjoyed this journey with the Moore's Global Finance podcast team. We've given you a lot of information about Goldco and Patriot Gold Group, but more importantly, we've challenged you to think critically about your financial future.
Investing is a marathon, not a sprint. Make smart decisions. Stay curious.
Enough top learning. Until next time, happy investing, everyone.